Hi there. My name is Dr. Karen Crozer, and today I'm going to show you how to redesign a Canvas page for the mobile user and for accessibility. The good news is a lot of the same choices will help both our students who are using mobile devices and our students who are using accessibility software. Now you can see here, what I have is a block of text. Is it readable? Technically, yes, but this isn't the best way to get this information across. So as I've been working myself on becoming more accessible, I made up a little acronym that you'll see down here to help me as I design. And the acronym is just the word HILLS. The H is for headings, the I is for images, the L is for links, the other L is for lists, and the S is for space. So I'm going to do a quick demo here where I show you live how I would make this page more accessible. So here we go. The first thing that we want to think about is headings. Headings are great for screen readers and other accessible technology that students use, assistive technology. But it's also great for our mobile students and really all of our students because it helps chunk our information. Now, looking at a block of text like this, there are many ways that we could insert headers. So I'm just going to choose one example. I'm going to say for this section, fast facts, and I actually don't want it to be italicized. And I am going to make this a heading. Now, for this to work with assistive technology, you can't just bold this or make it a bigger font. You actually need to go to heading 2. There you go. And now I have a list of facts. I have the name. I have the edition and year. I have the print ISBN. And then I have some information about what type of book they can get. So really, I have a list here. And then this bookstore piece is not really part of that list. So I'm going to go ahead and make another heading here. Okay. When you have a list, you want to actually use the list function. Now, you may be tempted to add little dashes like this, but assistive technology will not recognize these dashes as a list. So what you actually want to do is highlight everything in your list and go over here. Now, if order matters, you can use the number system. But in this case, this isn't a list of steps. It's just a list of items. So I'm going to go with the bullets. Now, one other thing I'm going to point out when you're designing a website, this isn't on my list, but I think it's worth mentioning. When you use underlining, it's going to look like a hyperlink. So you don't want to use underlining when you're creating in Canvas. You can use bold, you can use other things if you want to. But if you add underlining and it's not a hyperlink, students will click and there will be user errors. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so we have done the H headings. Now let's go to images. Of course, you don't have to include an image on every page, but images will really engage your users. So for a page like this, I am going to use an image of the textbook, which is what's going to make the most sense for this page. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, so I've dragged a picture of my textbook on here, and I have inserted it. Well, okay. Now, you're going to see that sometimes, actually most times when you insert an image, you're not going to be completely happy with what Canvas initially puts in there. So the first thing that I always do is I always put my image all the way to the right. That way it's going to be alongside the image. The other thing I do is I go to image options. First of all, I need to put in alt text for this textbook. And that's because a student with low vision or blindness isn't going to be able to see this graphic. So you want to keep your alt text short and to the point. So I'm just going to put imaginative writing textbook. Now, the other thing that I often change is the size of the image. I've read that the best ratio for mobile is having one of the ratios be 400, the first one. So that's personally what I do, and then I hit done. Okay, so now I can see this image is a little blurry, so I might need to go back and actually get one that is higher resolution because it doesn't actually look that great blown up. That's okay. I'm going to go back and make it a little bit smaller. You just don't want to exceed 400 very often for mobile devices, but going smaller is fine. Okay, so now you can see I have an image on the side. It's sized, it isn't sized too large for mobile devices, and it also has alt text. All right, so we have done headings, images, links. We have not done links, so let's talk about that. It's great to put links in your page, but what you don't want to do is just drop a link like this. And that's because assistive technology is going to read every single part of this to a student with vision problems. And I also don't want to say, visit here, or some kind of non-descriptive link. Let me see if I can copy this. I think it's going to fight me. Okay, so what I could do, but this wouldn't be very accessible, is I could put my link here. The problem is if you have a student with a disability, they're going to have something called a link list. And I don't have time to go into great detail about that here, but it'll be a list of all the links. And if those links are not descriptive, it's not going to be helpful to the student. So something like here doesn't really tell a student what they're clicking on. So instead, you want the link itself to be descriptive of what they're going to see. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and call it the bookstore website. There we go. Now we have a descriptive link. Okay, we have links, we have lists. We did the lists earlier here. And then the great thing is when you're doing all of this, but especially the headings and the lists, guess what? We have a lot more white space than we did a minute ago. Now let me get rid of my little reminders about design choices. And hit save. Now we have a page that is accessible, it's friendly on the brain, and it's friendly to mobile users. Now, I'm going to recommend that you also view your pages in the student app, but a quick way to guess how it might look on a mobile device is to make your page skinnier. Now you can start to get an idea of how it might look on a phone. And again, you can see now we have headings, we have a list, we have a descriptive link, we have an image with alt text that isn't sized too large, And we have a lot more white space than we did when we began. I hope this has been a helpful overview of how you can make a Canvas page more mobile friendly and accessible. Thanks for joining.